Hi everyone, welcome back to Keeping Up with the Chaldeans. I'm Anthony Toma, your host, and today we're here with Patrick Yono and Tamara Yono with Sure Life Financial. Thank you both for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Our audience is going to learn a lot about financial advising and the stock market and life insurance, right?
Right.
So why don't you start us off by telling us a little bit about Sure Life Financial and what it does.
So Sure Life Financial was a company that I founded because being in the industry, I saw that a lot of times companies had to do things in a manner that was better for the company. So I wanted to open a completely independent company that can access all financial products, that can access all life insurances, and that can also, manage money in the market for people so that in essence, I could have a custom-tailored, all-encompassing company that could help people with their finances.
And you mentioned a lot of different products and services in there. You want to unpack some of those for us?
So obviously with when clients come in, the first thing is we get to know them really, really well. But in order to meet their needs, which is the main objective, right?
Yep.
When you're meeting with somebody, you want to know, hey, what are their goals? What's their risk tolerance? So depending on what they want, there's different avenues that you can take. There are, obviously you can have your money managed in the market. There are also, financial institutions that we deal with that do just flat interest rates where they'll do interest, nice interest for guaranteed for 3 years, for 5 years, for 7 years. Some people want to put some of their money in something like that where they know, hey, I'm going to make 6% a year for the next 5 years on this money, and I'm good with that. There's also products that allow people to grow their money safely without any risk of losing principal. Obviously, as people get closer to the age where they want to stop working so much, it's important to get a little more conservative with your investments and still obviously make good money. So basically we go through all those things and have all those things at our disposal.
So it sounds like that's the investment piece. What about the life insurance part of the?
So a lot of people don't realize how important life insurance is, even if you feel like, okay, well, we've got a lot of money and so on and so forth, and if God forbid, if something happens to me, the family will be okay. But a lot of people don't realize, A, you need a good estate plan or a trust to make sure that, God forbid, when you do pass away, that it's seamless, things don't go to court. People don't realize sometimes someone passes away and you would think it's cut and dry, like, okay, well, so-and-so passed away, they were our father, we should inherit what they have. But unfortunately, if there's not the proper planning in place, these things go to probate.
Yep.
So one of the things that's essential for a good financial plan is to have the appropriate amount of life insurance coverage. Why? Because that comes to you tax-free. It comes to you within business days. And it goes directly without probate. So someone gets life insurance, they say, I want my wife as the beneficiary, whatever that dollar amount, now she gets that within a few business days, completely tax-free. She can hire a lawyer if she needs. She can do what she has to do, pay the bills until everything gets transferred properly to them if they don't have a proper estate plan.
Yeah. So an estate plan is something that's kind of weighs on a parent when they have kids, and I mean that in like planning for the future of your little child. But give us a little bit about how you relax that concern and that kind of omen in that part of the whole thing.
Right. So the way I relax that, because we do work closely with lawyers and accountants for our clients, but the way I relax that is I let them know what the alternative is, right? So I paint that picture for them. Hey, God forbid, if you were to pass away right now, house is in your name and your wife's name? No, it's just in my name. Well, you have to understand that there's a potential that if there's anyone that disputes that it should go directly to your wife, then she's going to have to go through court.
Right.
Your assets, a lot of our community they own businesses, they have partners.
Yep.
These types of things where, God forbid, if something happens to you, you don't want to leave a mess for your family. So it's really important to work with a lawyer, work with a financial planner to develop an estate plan. That way things are seamless. So, and I also let them know the benefit of, hey, we've all been through it. A loved one has passed away. then you go through, you have no idea what they have, and you're trying to figure out what they have and what you have to settle and so on and so forth. When you have a proper estate plan or trust with your financial advisor, all your assets, your accounts, everything is in a place that's easily accessible to your family. So they know, hey, God forbid if anything happens to me, go to my lawyer, go to my financial planner. Everything you need is right there.
Yeah,
That's the benefit.
all in black and white, spelled out. All different scenarios are accounted for, and hopefully everything is seamless after the.
Another thing too that I explain to people with a trust or an estate plan, it gives you more control, right? You can do things like, hey, you know what? I love my son. I know he's a good person, but he's bad with money. I'd rather give him his inheritance in a structured manner.
Sure.
Right? Things like that. Or, when I pass away, I want to make sure X, Y, and Z happens. Well, that goes right in your trust, and it has to be executed by the executor once you pass away.
Gotcha. Tamara, what is your role there?
I take care of more than life insurance. I always talk to our clients. I ask them, well, if you have kids, I feel it's a must.
It is.
It's a must. They come to our office. We literally customize their plan, their policies. Some people, they ask for like $1 million policy. I sit down and ask them, like, do you need this much? What are your bills? Like, what are your how much? They don't need this much, and it's not going to cost them this much monthly. So we sit down and talk to them, and when they leave our office, they're very happy.
So, but the difference between $1 million, 500,000, or a million, it's not that much, right?
So typically, as far as the cost to the person,
it's a monthly cost.
Typically, it's proportional. So if you get a quote for a specific type of life insurance that's $1 million worth of coverage, you can kind of count on $500,000 being half that cost, right?
Yeah, right.
So
okay.
another thing that, to build on what Tamara's saying is sometimes you do hybrid coverage, right? Someone will say to me, hey, well, if something happens to me within the next 10 years,
gotcha.
I'll need this much money. But after that 10 years, so they'll do, a little bit of term, we'll do a little bit of whole life, a little bit of universal life, if they want to do investments with life insurance. So that's the thing that is really important to understand, that with having a financial planner, you get everything that you need and nothing you don't. A good one that's working just for you, not for themselves, right? So that's important.
So you've mentioned 3 different kinds of life insurance. And it's cheaper the younger you are, right? For somebody watching right now in their 30s, they should probably jump on the opportunity now.
Absolutely, and I would tell any father, right? I never had life insurance until my oldest son was born.
Yeah.
And at the time, I got term life insurance just to, God forbid, if anything happens to me for the next 20 years, Tamara's got X amount of dollars to work with. She's got the house, so on and so forth. And really important when you think about the fact that, now you have children. Yeah. It's actually, for a younger person, the cost of term insurance is super low, especially with the fact that we go out to literally every life insurance carrier and get prices, and we determine what the lowest and best one is for that person. So really important part of it.
Gotcha. And so what are some of your typical clients that you would have that should come see you besides what we just talked about? And what packages do you think that, and you said everything was customized, but let's try to speak to an audience and draw them in.
So I would say that for the life insurance portion of it, regardless of what age you are, it's a really good idea to sit down and have a good understanding of what you actually need. So to build on what Tamara was saying, we kind of go through a needs, we've got a sheet that we go through this needs. Hey, how much do you owe on your house, so on and so forth. Then from there, you get these options, right? Hey, you can do a whole life, you can do term, you can do a hybrid, you can do universal life with investments, whatever kind of works for what you're trying to get accomplished. And once you have that knowledge, that's a big thing too, is when you come into our office, regardless of whether you're wanting to have your money managed or whether you're wanting to do other types of investments or life insurance, we don't charge anybody to come in and have a consultation with us. It's a really big deal to walk out of that office and have a really good idea about, hey, this is where I am with my life insurance needs, or hey, this is where I am financially, right? Sometimes it's hard for people to say, okay, well, I know how much money I have right now, how much I'm making, how long I plan to work, but I don't have that map of what's going to happen when I'm 85, so on and so forth. So we kind of map that out for people. Hey, you've got this money. If you make X percent on it per year, that's where you're going to be at this age, right? So another value to it is just knowing how much life insurance do I need, and knowing, hey, where am I going to be at financially?
Yeah. So you mentioned 4 different kinds. You said term,
whole life,
whole
and
life.
universal. I mentioned 3.
Okay, so what is term?
So term basically is just that you'll pay a certain amount per month, or you can pay it annually if you want, quarterly. Most companies will let you pay it however you want. And you're basically renting that money. So let's say it's $1 million policy, right? You're renting $1 million for 20 years.
Okay.
That's costing you X amount per month, right? God forbid anything happens to you in that 20 years. We file an application.
You get paid.
Include the death certificate. You get paid within business days.
Okay. And so when they talk about $1 million policy, you're getting $1 million if you pass away.
$1 million tax-free.
Tax-free.
One thing the government doesn't tax is death benefit.
Yeah.
Which is,
So you just mentioned life.
right.
So what is that?
So whole life basically is that you're, instead of renting that $1 million, now you're buying that million. Right?
Okay.
So regardless of what happens to you, whatever age that is, you have $1 million when you pass away. Also, a whole life policy accumulates what's called cash value. So as time goes on and you're paying into this whole life policy, there's an amount that becomes a cash value that your account has. The good thing about that is you can borrow against that interest-free. When you borrow that money, it's tax-free. You just got to return it back into the policy. So it also allows some maneuverability for people that are like, hey, I'd like some life insurance, but I'd like a way to be able to access funds without paying tax on it, without paying interest on it. So some people go the whole life route. Universal is basically where you've got some of your money is tied into, there's different types of universal, but some of your money is actually invested. It's tied into indexes, and depending on market performance, that's what your growth is and what your death benefit is, so on and so forth. That's helpful for people that are like, hey, well, I need roughly this amount, but I'd like to pay less than whole life. If you do a universal policy, it gives you kind of that best of both worlds.
A blend.
And universal is also where whatever that death benefit ends up being, it's guaranteed. When you pass away, that goes to whoever you've designated as your beneficiary or beneficiaries.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What other service do you offer? And for somebody that's just working, like somebody that's get paycheck to paycheck, making $500-600 a week, are there packages for them also?
Well, there are. We don't do a lot of business with people like that. So typically when someone is working, getting X amount per week, we always encourage them, hey, if your company has a 401k plan that you're
Get involved.
If they're going to contribute to that, that's free money.
Right.
You've got to, if they say, hey, we'll match 5%, make sure no matter how tough times are, put that 5% away, because they're going to match that. So that's 5% free, and that money's going to grow as you're working and keep depositing, and that money's growing. It ends up being a nice chunk. Now, for somebody that is self-employed or is working a job that doesn't offer a 401k, there are programs that you can contribute money to and be able to grow that money. One of the things that probably we get the least demand for, but it's really important. Obviously here's the thing. If you sit back and think about it, if you're making X dollars per year or you're making double that, a lot of times there's ways where that money can get absorbed. Oh, I got bills. Oh, we're going this, that. You have to be cognizant of the future, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rainy day, whatever happens, there's people that make so much money that they don't have anything because they'll just spend it all, right? Well, then, God forbid, when they're in a tough situation and they haven't planned, what do? You
Right.
know?
So do you deal in trust? Is that?
So basically what we do is we work with lawyers. So we don't do trusts ourselves,
Yeah.
but we understand exactly how a trust works. When clients ask us, we recommend lawyers that we know do a good job with, just like with anything, you can get a job done well or you can get it done poorly.
Right. Yeah.
So we direct them to lawyers that we know actually do a really thorough job with their trust.
Okay.
And then once they've done their trust, if they've got financial accounts with us and they sign off, we can update all of their financial stuff as the trust gets updated. Because typically you like to at least once every 5 years update your trust. Things change, right?
Yeah.
So what we do is, accounts, whatever the case may be that you have, we can directly update that with the lawyer that we're working with. And then God forbid, anything happens to you, the lawyer knows and I know, hey, here's everything and here's how you can access it. And then we help people access that.
Right. So Tamara, you said that you handle a lot of the life insurance stuff with the customers, with the clients. Are you bringing on people to help you with that process? Is there a growth plan for that arm of the company?
We have a lot of companies that we deal with that we take the information from our clients. We take their lifestyle, we ask them a lot of questions, and we call the companies that we deal with and we make a plan for them.
So you customize it.
Customize on their lifestyle too.
Right. So in essence, as far as growing the company that way, a lot of that stuff, if you will, I don't want to use the word outsourced, but there is a lot of resources that we have access to that we don't have a need for kind of
in-house.
growing
yeah.
in-house.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah. We do have a lot of products that we have a lot of people come, like they want to save money for their kids for their college. So they could lock this money when their kids are babies. Like if they have cash, they could lock it for this many years, and the interest rate is amazing right now.
Yeah.
After 5-10 years, their money grow and they have money for their college.
Right. And what is that called? Is that a certain package?
you have a couple. So you have what's called a 529. Where you can contribute to your children's college fund, and that goes to them. With that plan, you do have to pay taxes on the gains.
Yep.
But when your child uses that money for their college, that's that all the gains are untaxed, right? So there's those types of plans. Also, I want to mention something else, and I kind of lost my train of thought.
It's okay.
But yeah, there are other avenues where, for example, like there's some people that they're trying to get some money for college, right? To get some aid and whatnot. Another thing is to be able to structure your assets in a way that, when you apply for those things, now the government doesn't consider that as, hey, I've just got this money in a bank account. Well, then the government's going to tell you,
You have the money.
you got this much money.
Yeah,
well,
use
if you
it.
structure a certain way, now you're eligible for some of this financing from schools.
So this is creative accounting and creative moving money around where it doesn't show, and you can get the financial aid.
It shows, but according to the IRS, it doesn't count as. Correct.
So so that's actually a great tool to have at people's disposal if they're in the market of trying to put their kids through school.
Right. I always try to, because here's the thing is, whatever, like right now, if you're hungry, you need to eat, so you go eat, right? If you want to buy a house and you need to finance it, you need a mortgage.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize how badly they need a financial planner, and I like to tell people that analogy of, think about what you do for a living, right? And think about someone coming and saying, hey, well, you know what, instead of having you do that, I'll just do that myself. You know what I mean? And think about, in your mind, if you're a carpenter, right? In your mind, if someone else tried to come and do what you did, it's not going to come out.
You're gonna laugh at them.
Right. Right.
Yeah, you're gonna watch them and laugh.
Yeah.
Because and then you're gonna see the finished product, and it's not gonna hold water, or it's gonna fall, or a windstorm comes and it's bye-bye. Right. So go to the professionals and get it done correctly, and save yourself a lot of grief.
And you save yourself a lot of money. So any money that we make, I can say wholeheartedly that we've made way more money for our clients than our cost, or else we're not worth it. Don't come to us.
Exactly.
If we're not making you more money than you would have made on your own, and covering our cost as well, then what good are we?
Right. Of course. So. Of course. Was there anything that we did not cover that we want to kind of mention?
Just for people to take some time to think about this. Come get educated. We do.
How do they do that? How do they get educated?
So they can come. They can make an appointment, and literally we'll have appointments where, we're just answering people's questions. One major philosophy of mine and of our company is, and why I started this company, is just do good for people, right?
Yeah.
So if this person comes and asks you a question and you point them in the right direction and you don't end up doing business with them, well, you did good for that person, right? God sees that, and you continue to do well for people unto the point where now people are saying, hey, this is a good company. These are good people that are just caring about us and only us. And all of a sudden the word spreads, which it is where I get a lot of my businesses from, referrals.
Okay.
So that's one way you can make an appointment and just say, hey, Patrick, I don't know if I want to do any business with you, but I want to come talk to you about a few things.
Sure.
That's one thing. You can call and make an appointment. We do events monthly. Typically, we'll do events at libraries. We'll do events at restaurants.
What's an event?
So the event basically is, we'll do an event on, estate planning. We'll do an event on tax savings.
And how do people find out about these events?
They're on our website.
Okay.
There's an event page on our website. But we also advertise through Facebook and Instagram when we do these events. And these events are just kind of to open people's eyes. Because like I told you before, one part of our business is that people don't realize how much they need somebody professionally to help them with their overall plan, right?
Yeah.
And so what we do is we kind of bring some light to some real issues, some real things going on in the market right now, so on and so forth, and introduce them to ways that they can kind of protect themselves. And now all of a sudden they're starting to realize, hey, maybe I didn't know as much as I did before.
Right.
Yeah. So, and that helps us.
What's the URL to the website?
It's www.surelife-financial.com.
Okay, and then what about a phone number?
The phone number is 248-266-5757.
And the social?
So the social media, we've got Instagram, she deals more with that. What do we have?
We have Facebook and Instagram.
And we
Sure
have
Life Financial. And
LinkedIn?
LinkedIn.
Okay.
And aren't we on...
We are on TikTok.
TikTok,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So
We have our social media girl. She manages all that too.
All right,
Yeah.
cool, very cool.
She does a good job.
She does a great job. So, what else did I want to say? Oh yes, so our office is right in Novi.
What's the address?
It's 39500 Orchard Hill Place. That's in Novi, Michigan. It's right off of Haggerty, between 8 and 9 miles. So.
Oh, okay, that's easy to find.
Yeah, right off the freeway, really easy to get to.
Is it in a building? Is it?
Yeah, it's in a bit. The nice thing, it's on Orchard Hill Place, and it's the only red building on Orchard Hill Place. So It's a
Easy to
beautiful
find.
red and glass building, and then we're right on the first floor, Suite 115. So
Cool. And so when is the Yono family reunion this year?
So we didn't have success last year with our big reunion in the summertime, and we kind of were reeling a little bit about that.
Okay.
So we haven't really
Haven't set a date or
mustered up
time?
the motivation to
Yeah,
try
I'm
to
sure
do
when
it
the
again.
summer is getting closer, he's
Yeah.
gonna try to organize it
Yeah.
You'll
again.
get some calls.
Here's the
Yes.
thing, and I want to tell this to every family is, remember what's really important in life, right?
Yeah,
You know,
family.
our business, the money that we make, all these things that we do, they're just a tool to help bring some happiness to our families. But our true happiness, it's from God. It's from our families. So that's one thing that I try to make sure that the Yono family knows, that, hey,
Yeah.
as busy as you are, come make time. It's so important to, your kids get to know, your distant cousins' kids, and all of a sudden they become friends without you, and they start
Yeah.
calling each other. This is what life's about.
Very
is,
cool.
is being together. So
Very, very cool.
yeah.
So we end every show with a question, and I'll ask you first, and then I'll put you on the spot next.
All right.
The question is, what does it mean to you to be Chaldean?
So for me, to be Chaldean it means a tight-knit, close family, right? So, why do most of us stay in the Metro Detroit area? Metro Detroit is beautiful, of course. We love it. Weather-wise, sometimes it's cold, but why do we stay here? Because our people are here. When we go on the street, I run into you or run into so-and-so, hey, give you a hug, how's everything, how's the family, so on and
Yeah.
so forth. It really just is about the most valuable thing that we have, again, is our God, our family, and our community. And that is what it means to me to be Chaldean, is to know those things, to appreciate those gifts that we have each other. That's what it means to be
Beautiful,
Chaldean.
great, beautiful answer. So now you're on the hot spot. What does it mean to you to be Chaldean?
I just love our culture.
Yeah.
I just love our culture, our food. I just love how the cousins they all care for each other.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I don't know who my cousin is. Just, it's we're culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. I hope the audience took a lot out of this episode and takes you up on what you've studied for and learned, and take the grief out of their planning and financial planning and their life insurance and all that stuff, and go see them and get on the right path. And if you're not on the right path, these are the folks that you need to see. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having us.